Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. And our next item on the agenda is item number 12, and this is the Unidirectional Flushing Pilot Program task order approval. And Chris, you're going to?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I hope you are doing well. So I'm here to present a task order for Unidirectional Flushing, our pilot program. But before I do that, I wanted to give you a background on what unidirectional flushing is and potentially what we're asking for with this task order. So you have a presentation in front of you, understanding water system flushing at SGWASA, ensuring water quality through effective maintenance procedures. So through this, I'll give you an introduction to the flushing programs project, a regular water system flushing, unidirectional flushing, what that means, comparison between regular flushing and unidirectional flushing and the strategic use of that, value and strategic plan alignment, an executive takeaway, and closing thoughts on this. So, introduction to flushing programs. Why flushing matters. So the purpose of flushing maintains water quality by removing sediment, reducing stagnation, and controlling bacterial growth. Flushing methods, you have regular and unidirectional flushing. They're both distinct techniques used to clean water distribution systems effectively. The benefits of this, flushing extends pipe life by reducing corrosion and buildup, and also prevents costly repair and replacements. In operational compliance goals, effective flushing supports regulatory compliance, reduces risks, and improves customer satisfaction for utilities. Regular water system flushing. So the characteristics and purpose of regular flushing. Routine water quality maintenance. Regular flushing maintains disinfectant levels and reduces water age in low-use areas to ensure water quality. The system functionality check. Flushing tests hydrants and valves, confirming operational readiness for emergencies without complex planning. There's limitations on regular flushing, so you get low pipe velocities which limit sediment removal. Flushing circulates water, but also may stir loose particles, causing discoloration. And this is a cost-effective routine practice. So regular flushing is simple, frequent, and cost-effective. It helps reduce stagnation and maintains chlorine residuals, helps maintain chlorine residuals. So that's regular flushing. Unidirectional flushing. So unidirectional flushing involves high velocity water flow through isolated pipe sections to remove stagnation, sediment, and corrosion byproducts effectively. Unidirectional flushing is just exactly what it sounds like. One single way of flushing. So essentially what you would do is you would close valves and force water to come one way. What it does is it pulls all the sediment to the end of the pipe and pulls it out. As opposed to bringing it through multiple sources, multiple ways, it brings it through one way. Unidirectional flushing requires detailed mapping and valve operations to ensure controlled unidirectional flow towards designed outlets. The benefits of this unidirectional flushing improves water clarity, reduces discoloration complaints, enhances hydraulic performance, and supports regulatory compliance. There are challenges and considerations though. UDF requires staff training, valve monitoring, and customer communication, but it does offer significant maintenance benefits, which I went through earlier as far as pulling out sediment, also pulling out corrosion in pipes to ensure longer pipe life. So comparison between the two is strategic use. So you have a chart that gives basically an aspect. So you have goals, planning required, valve operations, so on and so forth. So for regular flushing, what this says is it maintains water freshness. For unidirectional flushing, It does the same thing, but it also cleans pipes and removes buildup. Very minimal planning required on regular flushing. Unidirectional flushing is more extensive and deliberate. Same thing for valve operations. It's minimal on regular flushing because you're not operating valves. But on unidirectional, it's critical because you were closing valves to ensure that you were sending water a specific way. For regular flushing, there's multiple directions in which water will flow. Unidirectional flushing, just that. It's one controlled direction. Water velocity on regular flushing, low to moderate, but on unidirectional flushing, it's a higher water velocity and you're getting a higher scour of your pipe, which ensures better cleaning of your pipe. Cleaning effectiveness of regular flushing is limited, but you have a higher success with unidirectional flushing. And the frequency, you can do routine, regular flushing, unidirectional flushing. It's more periodic or targeted because it takes a lot more effort to go through and figure out exactly what to do to cause that unidirectional flushing. So the key point here is regular flushing keeps water fresh day to day. Unidirectional flushing is a tool that cleans and protects the system. The next slide is a chart of what this actually looks like. So regular flushing, think about you have water coming in your top pipe here, top left pipe. And you can flush at any one of these hydrants here. And as you do, water can go throughout different pipes. It can pull from different pipes and stuff like that. But if you compare it to the one on the right-hand side, you are strategically closing valves here. So on the left-hand side, the top left, you see that you have a circle next to the fire hydrant. On the top right, on the unidirectional side, you have cross-out valves. So essentially what that means is you've closed those valves. You are forcing water to come a certain way, so you are scouring that pipe. So as you look vertically, you are scouring that vertical pipe, and then you are scouring that horizontal pipe on the bottom here. You are intentionally causing water to go a certain way. You're intentionally cleaning specific pipes. So unidirectional flushing isolates a main and moves water in one direction at higher velocities, and which is what removes accumulated material. So for this specific task order I'm going to talk about in just a minute, I wanted to give you an overview of where we're looking to do. So you have a map here, one of our GIS maps for the Golden Pond subdivision. So this is a rather large subdivision. There's 5.3 miles of water lines within this specific subdivision. So right much distribution on here. So the key we want to make here is there's a lot of ways in which water can move through this specific subdivision. So, and with us not have done a task like this previously, it's imperative, at least to me, it's imperative that we strategically do this. We don't just randomly go out and flush certain areas. We are going and specifically closing specific valves to clean certain pipes here. And we would do this throughout the whole subdivision. So it's strategically planned which ones we close to get a certain outcome. Then you go back and you open another valve and you clean another section of pipe. So value and strategic plan alignment. Strategic role of flushing programs. This ensures compliance with regulations and supports operational goals by improving water quality and reducing complaints. The Unidirectional Flushing Program is a direct execution of SGWASA's strategic plan, improving water quality, protecting infrastructure investments, strengthening organizational performance, and fulfilling the authority's environmental and governance responsibilities. The benefits of unidirectional flushing are they remove sediment and biofilm, it minimizes corrosion risks, and enhances system reliability and compliance. Proactive flushing reduces unplanned maintenance, emergency response costs, and reputational risk associated with water quality complaints. Mm-hmm. And resource stewardship Supporting flushing initiatives protects infrastructure, reduces emergency repairs, and safeguards financial stability. So the executive takeaway here is flushing is essential to maintain water quality and regulatory compliance. Regular flushing maintains freshness, but unidirectional flushing actively cleans infrastructure. Targeted unidirectional flushing protects assets, reduces complaints, and lowers long-term costs. SGWASA's program directly supports strategic, operational, and governance goals. So the closing thought here is flushing is not just maintenance, it's an asset stewardship. Unidirectional flushing is a strategic investment in system reliability and public trust. Continued support ensures long-term water quality and infrastructure protection. So it's kind of a good background on what unidirectional flushing is, the benefits of it, and the differences between regular routine flushing as opposed to unidirectional flushing. So now, agenda topic 12 is this specific task order. So what I have here is a specific task order for Golden Pond subdivision for unidirectional flushing. The requested action is approval of the task order, the unidirectional flushing pilot program with Hazen and Sawyer. SGWASA is requesting board approval of a task order with Hazen and Sawyer to conduct a pilot unidirectional flushing program in the Golden Pond subdivision encompassing approximately 5.3 miles of water distribution mains. This pilot will enhance water quality, improve operational practices, and inform future system-wide flushing efforts. The background here, SGWASA employs 3 on-call engineering firms for different services that we have: Hazen & Sawyer, CDM Smith, and McGill Associates. We use each one of these design or engineering firms for different things, and they all offer a wide range of expertise across many engineering disciplines. So engineering work performed at each engineering design firm is accomplished via a task order process. Task order is written for a specific project, and it contains the scope of work and an outline of the related costs for such work. The draft task order is reviewed by SGWASA staff for any modifications prior to finalizing the task order. Once the draft task order is finalized, the engineering firm submits the final task order to SGWASA for review and tentative approval. And tentative approval status is required until the funding associated to the item is secure. Analysis. As we continue to upgrade and improve our water system, a dedicated flushing program is needed to improve water quality throughout our service area. The task order that Hazen has provided is a pilot test for unidirectional flushing that focuses on the Golden Pond subdivision. This task order from Hazen includes updates to the water model, development of a unidirectional flushing program in the subdivision, 5 days of field support from Hazen for SGWASA, project administration with meetings between Hazen and Sawyer and SGWASA, as well as 2 board presentations, one prior to starting the pilot and one after. As we continue to upgrade and improve our water system, a dedicated hydrant flushing program is needed to enhance water quality across our service area. The task order submitted by Hazen proposes a pilot unidirectional flushing program focused on the Golden Pond subdivision, which is approximately 5.3 miles of water distribution mains. The task order scope includes updates to the system model, development of a unidirectional flushing program to the subdivision. Okay, I've already gone through that. But basically, it includes more than just the unidirectional flushing program. So we will make direct use of the I need to modify this this legislative memo. So following the board's review and approval, SGWASA staff will move forward with the next steps in the approval process and schedule this work for spring of 2026. Based on the results of the pilot program, SGWASA and Hazen will make fine-tune adjustments to the unidirectional flushing program and then plan the next areas to be flushed. So our recommendation is that the Board of Directors approve the task order as shown in attachment 1. Schedule. Hazen plans to start work as soon as the notice to proceed is issued. And then we will have the following project schedule. You'll have a draft document 10 weeks after execution of the contract, and final pilot, which would be 2 weeks after receipt of comments on draft deliverable. The cost for this task order is $45,000 and shall be paid out of the engineering projects in the 25-26 budget. This is focus area 1 of the strategic plan of safe, reliable, and sustainable water system. So our recommendation is the Board of Directors approve the unidirectional flushing pilot task order for Hazen and Sawyer totaling $45,000. And you have the task order in front of you as the next attachment.
Okay. Who's got questions?
I have questions.
Okay.
$45,000, that's just for the Golden Pond project. So it'll be additional money for every time we do a different project or a different subdivision.
So again, this is a pilot program. So this is to help us develop a larger program in the end. And so what we would do is we would take this information, we would not only have a direct unidirectional flushing program, this information will be put into the model, and then we would further develop a unidirectional flushing program for our whole service area based on this pilot.
So once they train us how to do this or train SGWASA staff, then you guys can run it yourself. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's very strategically planned. So it's critical to have things like this that are housed inside of a water model, because you know how the characteristics of water move throughout your system. Mm-hmm. So not only are you closing valves, but it's very strategically planned. And so it's meant to scour mains. It's meant to clean, essentially have good water quality. But with that, you want to make sure that you are pulling water from exactly the places that you need to pull from. Right. And you need to see what kind of effects that has on your distribution system. So just because I say I'm going to close this valve doesn't mean that I'm not going to end up pulling too much water over here. So that's why it's critical that you put this information into a water model to see what it does to your distribution system.
Okay.
Commissioner, may I just add to that, please, that I'd like the board to look at this as a technology transfer project. We, as an organization, have not been trained to do unidirectional flushing. It's been around for many, many years, and it's very beneficial, as you saw from the presentation this evening. We need help and training on how to do this. We will have to rely on some consulting in the future to help us with the model. Models have software for UDF that we can import all this information, and it will help us tell what sequence we need to do as far as closing all those valves and doing the flushing. But the intent is basically a technology transfer with the consultants on site to help us do this so that we can take on the next subdivision, and use this throughout the entire service area. So after we get 2 or 3 under our belt, we'll get even better. But I think there's always going to be a reliance of needing someone to help us with the model for the UDF because we don't have technologists on staff that do this, so we rely on the consultants for that. So I don't think that you'll be looking at a cost this high because it won't be as involved, but there will be some reliance with the consultants as part of our operating engineering budget that we have throughout the year.
So is there an annual cost with this going forward, or is this just per job, per pilot? $45,000 for Golden Pond, and then if we do another subdivision, it'll be a unit price for the whole project.
Exactly. So basically just for the engineering. So what we'll do is we'll learn through this project, and then when we come out of this, we'll have booklets and understanding of how to do this program and manuals and procedures and get everyone trained. And we'll say, let's take on the next subdivision across the street or to the east or to the west. Mm-hmm. And let's do what we can do and our understanding and take the training wheels off if you will,
Yeah.
and move on to that. So it'll be a great combination program for regular flushing, which has a benefit, but also unidirectional flushing, which scours those mains, which is really important. That's something that you just don't get from just opening a hydrant here or there and letting it run for a day or two.
Yeah.
And I think most of us have seen that hydrant that runs for 24 hours or 48 hours with the water flow.
Mhm.
It is cleaning that pipe over time, but it's not providing that scouring action that we're looking for to actually clean the pipe. Hope that answers your question.
It does.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Did you have something?
Pardon me?
No,
No?
I'm good.
Chris, this is a stupid question about your little dog.
Nothing, there's no super.
So if we close these, how does this pipe get done?
Same way. So, Crystal, do you mind going back to that presentation? And it's the one that has the
program.
pictures of hydrants.
The diagrams?
Yeah.
There
That's
you
it.
go.
Okay, so if you look at this picture up on the screen,
Uh-huh.
okay, so if I want to clean that top pipe,
The top pipe.
okay, and I'm sorry I don't have a pointer, but you have a hydrant on the far left-hand side here that has a circle. You would close that pipe, and then you would close that valve, and then you would go to the next road, the next vertical road, you would close that valve. And then you would go to the next vertical road and you would close that valve. And what it does is essentially it forces water to go a certain
Through those
way.
certain ways.
So
Okay.
you're cleaning the top pipe. Then you would go through and you would open your valves and do the same thing with the bottom pipe. And it's strategically done. And with that, what you can do is, again, you're looking at it as a pilot program, but what it's basically doing is you're developing a standard operating procedure to go clean this specific line. So you'd say, to clean Davis Street, you need to close valve 1, 2, and 3. To close C Street, you need to go on
Right.
and so forth. So it develops a specific dedicated task, a dedicated standard operating procedure for each road, each section of pipe, each hydrant. And with that, there's also benefits, other benefits that we haven't mentioned here. We are touching every single hydrant within that subdivision. So we will not only get the information that we need to see, okay, does this hydrant work? Is there anything wrong with it? We are also able to provide that information to the fire department for their annual or their inspections that they have in state. So it provides further benefits.
Okay. Thank you.
So would there be temporary disruption to individual houses
There
during
will be
this?
temporary disruption to that, and we would be very strategic in communications with people on this.
Okay.
You know, this is a planned effort. We would plan it months in advance about when we're going to start, how long it's going to take, stuff like that, and we would be in constant communication with the residents in the affected area.
We'll invite all board members out to see you as well.
When this project starts, and we'll be accessing these valves in the streets and Woodline and wherever else they decide to put valves into, do we have the appropriate replacement valves on hand
Good idea.
when some of these valves malfunction and don't work for replacement?
Well, two things to answer that question. I'm not sure if we have 60 valves in stock, but we have a variety of.
Well, not 60, but
when you look at that large neighborhood.
well, I mean, once you start, you do a few,
Right.
it'll give you an idea of what
Right.
you're working with.
But I like what you brought up because I was going to add that to the end of the conversation. We have a note in here where we'll make direct use of our newly purchased valve exercise machine, which we purchased this year, with the idea that we can do the valve exercising. Because you can see just from the screen how many valves have to be open and closed, not just once, but in a sequence. And so we're going to better understand valves that have been closed for years that should be open, or valve exercising to make sure we have that control during the water main breaks. And some are going to break. You're right. The infrastructure is going to break, and we'll have to replace that. So that's not the first day, but it'll happen sometime that week.
This neighborhood's been around a while.
Yeah.
However, when you're talking about this particular type of flushing, and let's say we're going to do this in the older parts of Creedmoor,
Oh, yeah.
I foresee a mess.
A mess in terms of
Broken
As
valves.
in when you are going to flush the high velocity of water through some of these pipes in Creedmoor,
Sure.
I think that we will probably see a lot more breaks than, and not just Creedmoor, probably right here in Butner as well.
I think
When the project takes place.
That is a chance. That's for sure. But
That's one of the fears I have with this type of flushing in the older infrastructure that we have.
well, and part of our pilot will help us demonstrate out of 100 valves in water mains, what percentage were broken and what repairs did you have to do in the middle of summer versus winter time when we have them.
Yeah.
Those type of things. So, and we really, if the board approves this evening, we really don't want to start this until we get past the water main break season, the winter freezing. Plus, we want to wrap up the water filter media replacement project that's going on at the water treatment plant. And if the board chair would like, I could have Chris just give us a 60-second update on that project, if you would like.
We'll now entertain a motion to approve this task order.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries.